Regional Voices, the voice of regional Australia.
Welcome to the latest episode of Regional Voices. I'm Margot Ferracci, Commonwealth Bank General Manager of Regional and Agribusiness Banking for New South Wales. We're proud to sponsor Regional Voices this month as we talk sport. We chat with George Hill this week, one of the players representing Australia in this month's World Polo Championship being held from the 21st to the 29th of October. It's been a long and winding road for George and his love for the game of polo. He currently lives near Mitchell, Queensland and manages a cattle property, but in order to play, George will travel 5 hours south to North Star in New South Wales. George has recently arrived in Windsor, New South Wales to prepare with the Australian team for the World Championship. George took some time out from training and chatted with Kendi Burness-Cowan about his dedication to polo, being selected for the World Championship and the adventures he's been on so far, including some years working for the Packer family's Elliston stable.
Hi George, thanks for being part of Regional Voices.
No problem.
So polo, how does a guy from a farm in Queensland end up on the Australian Polo World Cup team?
By accident really. I play polo, it's my passion, and when I'm not at home working, I go away and play about 6 weeks of polo, and about a month ago I got a call from the chief of selectors, Jim Gilmore, and he asked if I'd like to be involved, and I jumped at the chance.
Polo is really known as a sport for the uber wealthy, you know, that's the way it's portrayed in movies and on TV. Is it? Do you play with princes and business moguls, or is it other guys off the farm? Who are you playing with?
No, there's definitely some royalty involved overseas, but here in Australia it's not like that. It's really a family sport. A lot of people with rural backgrounds and people from all walks of life play polo. It's not all pretty women.
Because your family, you know, is a family that loves horses, isn't it?
Yes, we've been very horsey. We use them for work, and it's our passion as well as an instrument for work, and that's where probably the love of polo came from.
Actually, you better tell me a bit about the sport of polo. All I know is horses and sticks and pretty women.
Games are broken up into, rather than halves, they're broken up into chukkers. So we have 4 quarters for a 4-chukker game. There's 4 players on a team. What we do is there's 2, the idea is to get a goal, many goals as possible. So the best way to describe it is like hockey on horseback, I suppose. and it's a very rough game. Some people describe it as like rugby on horseback.
Right.
It's absolutely, what's the word? It's a very exciting game, and it's an adrenaline rush.
How did you get into it?
By accident, really. I was overseas travelling, and then I was coming back through the United Kingdom in 2004, and there was the English summer over there, and I was looking for work, and by chance a friend of my father's was looking for someone to start to do a bit of work, and I got in and got the opportunity to do about 3 months work there, training horses and learning to play, and from then on I've been hooked.
Wow. So you live in Mitchell in Queensland. Tell me a bit about where you live and the family properties.
The family has 3 properties in our business. I live on the home block, Toowoomba. It's a 40,000 acre cattle breeding property, and it's about 80 k's north of Mitchell. It's a lovely place, and we've also got another place south of Mitchell and a place southeast of me and Dara, and they're all run together. My mum and dad own the lot, and my brother and I manage the places between us. And
so how does that work during polo season? Because there's always plenty happening on a farm, and I think, your brother plays polo too, does he? Yes,
no, he's 2 goals. He's like myself, polo does come second. We run the business and the farms, and then when we get the opportunity, when things quieten down, if season lets us, if it's not too dry or whatnot, we get the opportunity to go away and we play on the weekends, about 6 weeks a year, starting in August, and we finish in the middle of September.
Now, you actually play for North Star in New South Wales. I've been to North Star, and it's a teeny little town, which also happens to be about 5 hours from where you live. That's an awful lot of travel during that fairly short season.
Yes, there's no polo out at Mitchell. Polo cross seems to be the game of choice out there, and I've always kind of been lent towards polo. So,
what's the difference?
Polo cross is similar game that's played on a small field. They have 3 players per team, and they catch the ball and throw it. Where in polo we actually hit the ball,
right,
and we play on grass. So they're similar, but they're quite different games fundamentally. So and there's no polo, so therefore I have very good friends at North Star who are very good to us and let us keep our horses there, so we don't have to do the 5-hour travel week in, week out.
So the horses stay there?
The horses stay there, and we put our groom, whoever's working for us there, in a house, and they're very good to us, our friends, and that means I can come and go and commute from the farm, which is much easier than moving, 12 horses or whatever we've got playing every weekend.
12 horses every weekend? So how does that work? I mean, if there's only 4 of you on a team, why 12 horses?
Well, every chucker we have a new horse.
Oh, right.
And my brother plays, so he needs 4 horses, and I usually play twice. I'll play in the A grade and then probably a low grade on my younger horses. So, anywhere from 10 to 12 horses will be playing on a weekend.
That's pretty full on.
Yeah. But it's a big effort, so we may as well be busy and enjoying it. And we don't do it all year round, so we try and get as much done and have as many horses in work when we actually get the opportunity.
And so is it one of those things where horse and rider have to be really in tune? And how does that work when you're changing horses so often? Or is it really about the player?
No, it's really a lot of it's to do with the horse, to be honest. I'd say 70% of your success in polo is the horse, and the rest would be, planning, management, and then the ability of the player and your teammates. The horses are vital, and it's all about the horses. If you've got what I consider, top class, top shelf horses on your truck, you're halfway to winning the match or being better than your opponents in particular.
And what makes a good horse for polo?
Horses, they've got to have a really good temperament for polo because there's a lot of running, there's a lot of stopping, and there's a lot of riding off each other, and therefore also they need that speed and agility, and then they also need good conformation, or the pressure that you put on the horses, eventually they won't make the distance and go the distance because they're not put together properly.
So the horses you use to play polo, are the same horses you are working with on the properties?
Yeah, we do. We have Australian stock horses, and what we'd like to do is cross them with a thoroughbred, and that gives us a versatile animal that can cross over of both disciplines. They've still got the ability to watch cattle and be family horses and station horses. And then usually they end up playing polo if I like them for that. But they all start out on the farm working, and then if I think they're going to suit the polo, I'll go and show them a game about 4 to 5 years old and see if that suits.
So how many horses are on the properties all up?
Oh, I think we've got anywhere from 50 to 60 horses at any one time, counting our stallions, brood mares, foals, and then the horses that are playing, and our plant horses as well for the stations.
Oh, that's amazing that you really love horses, obviously.
Yeah, no, we do, and I think it works for us really. We love the horses, and then it's also our passion with polo and whatever else we're doing in our life. We're always around them, and we'd be on a horse every week if not every other week of the year.
So the actual season runs for about 6 weeks, but what do you do to prepare for a polo season? I mean, how do you train? It's not like, your teammates live next door.
No, well, we don't practice at all until the start of the season. So because everybody at North Star, all the guys I play with, all are from farming backgrounds. They've got their own properties or some sort of interest on the land. So we try and get as much done on the farm so that we can go away and focus on the polo. But it doesn't always, depending on the season. I suppose what I'm saying is you don't do much before. You just got to get the horses as fit and prepared as well as you can until you get the opportunity to go away and play. And that's when you spend a bit more time on your polo and the horses training. And
so you've got a couple of fairly young kids. What do your wife and kids do while you're off in North Star with the horses? Because you've gone every weekend pretty much for 6 weeks, aren't you?
Yes. They used to, before my daughter went to school, come with me, and they'd, and really enjoy it. But now my daughter's at school, so they come down on the weekends at the closer tournaments. But at times when we start to play a bit further south, we go all the way down to Kendi and Scone most years.
Right. Oh, wow, that's quite a long way.
Yeah, it's a fair hike. It's about 900 k's from Scone to home and 800 from Kendi. So when we get down really south, they usually stay at home.
How big is the sport in Australia?
It's getting bigger, I believe. I saw a polo school on the weekend at Scone, which is run by some of the professionals and top guys in Australia, and there was over 70 kids there. Wow. The pony club, and they had 3 days just doing polo. So that's going to hold the game in good stead in the distance, down the track. It's not a massive sport, but it's a very well-supported sport. If you get into it and you enjoy it, it usually does last through the generations. A lot of them play because they grew up playing or they have families that play, and if it's in your blood, you do fall in love with it.
Are your kids interested?
Yeah, no, they are interested. It's not a sport that is very easy when you're really small because of the weight of the sticks, but as they get older, they'll get into it. They're already showing a fair interest in it, and they love coming away with us to play, to watch.
So what got you into polo? Was it an interest in sport or was it an interest in horses, do you think, that led you in that direction?
It was a combination of both, Kendi, to be honest, because I loved my sport at school. I didn't play polo then, but I did ride horses, and then it really blossomed when I went overseas and had the time to ride horses, and I thought, wow, you know, sport and horses combined, this is for me, this suits me, and I really enjoy it.
And so you're in the World Cup team. Really,
Yes.
You just got a call completely out of the blue. Did you not know it was on the cards for you?
It was a bit of a surprise, to be honest. I had heard that I was being considered, but at the time when I was playing, I really wasn't focusing on it that much because I believed that possibly other players were a bit in front of me in selection. And then at the end of the season, I think it was about a month ago now, I got a call and he said, would you like to be part of it? So yeah, it was out of the blue and it was a shock, but you know, a very nice shock.
It's coming up very soon, isn't it? It's actually in October and I think it's being staged in Sydney. Whereabouts are your teammates from?
Teammates all over Australia. There's a couple of guys, there's 2 guys from Western Australia, then there's 3 Queenslanders, myself included, and then the rest from New South Wales.
And so how does that go? Are they guys that you know? Have you played with them before?
Yes, I know most of them. There is one guy that I haven't met before. That's just by chance. Polo is a small kind of community in the sense that we all know everybody and we've all crossed paths, either played together or played against each other at any one time. We'll come together in the next few weeks and hopefully put in a great performance for the Australian community and hopefully we get this cup.
So will you get to train with these guys or will it be like your regular season where your first outing's on the first day of competition?
No, it'll be a lot more organised than my polo for North Star. The circumstances are different. We're all down here at the moment playing polo for the 3 weeks before the World Cup. Right. And most people are either playing with someone from the squad and someone else from the squad, so there's a great opportunity to build combinations to, make sure that we're all playing really well to have a great result.
And how many teams are in the World Cup?
There's 8 teams, including Australia. When
you think about who's the best in the world at polo, who is the best?
Well, the best the best players in the world come from Argentina. Right. They've got the best players in the world, the best 2 guys in the world. This tournament's a handicap tournament, so it's handicapped at 14 goals. Therefore, all the countries will pick their best players from 5 goals back to 2 goals. I can explain that if you like. But the best players in the world who are up to 10 goals, that's their handicap. Right, they can't play. So it's a bit of an interesting question how I answer that. But this tournament is not an open tournament. It's a handicap tournament. And therefore, we're all going to be very even in a sense because we're all getting the same. We all start from the same place and we all get a fair go at the horses that will get dealt out into each pool for each team.
Is it a good spectator sport?
It's a fantastic spectator sport, to be honest. It's very fast and it's got a little bit of flair about it. You know, watching someone ride at 30 mile an hour and hit the ball out of the air can be very exciting for any spectators.
It's dangerous for the players?
It can be very dangerous. But most of the rules are designed to prevent problems because we are travelling at such great speeds. Anyone, if someone gets it wrong and a horse comes down, then, we can have all sorts of injuries for a horse and rider. Yes. So it can be very dangerous.
Yeah. So how do you rate your chances?
I think the chances are we're going to go all the way, but we won't know. We won't know for a bit. I don't know how strong the other teams will be, but I'd say that they'll all be pretty strong. It'll be a tough competition to win, and whoever does, they'll deserve it.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds pretty exciting. Thanks so much, George, for the conversation. It's really interesting, especially as someone who really literally knew very little about polo. So thanks so much for sharing with us. You certainly did. And very best of luck with the competition. We'll definitely check in and see how things have gone.
Thank you very much, Kendi.
Great chatting with you.
That was Kendi Burness-Cowan with George Hill, an Australian player for this year's World Polo Championship. At Commonwealth Bank, we're proud to support the development of sport in regional Australia. Through our partnership with Cricket Australia, we're fostering the development of cricket clubs across the country from grassroots to elite level. To find out more, head to combank.com.au/cricket and tune into Regional Voices on your local station or download for free on iTunes. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and join the conversation on social media.
Regional Voices, the new voice of regional Australia.